Science is dope. Pranav, the man, the myth, the
Hello.
legend.
Hi,
I
David.
genuinely feel like I already know you, man. I feel like we've been
Yeah.
on each other's radar for about what, at least a year, right?
When I first saw you, I remember when I first saw you, I searched are there other channels that are doing content on Sadhguru?
That's how I found you. Exactly the same. I thought, has anybody else made videos about Sadhguru? We met through our mutual love of Sadhguru. And then you came up because I found that it was, if you put in Sadhguru exposed, you find yours and my videos. I think are the two top with like around 500,000 views, which
Yep.
is that's fucking awesome. And yours was great. I mean, all the ones you've made about him have been great. My personal, I can't remember which of yours I saw. You've definitely had at least two or three about directly about him, right? And one of
Yeah.
them you had that song,
Oh,
the
yeah. The Dimension song,
I
right?
mentioned. It's fucking it's so good.
One important thing that you need to understand is feminine is not a gender, it is a dimension.
It's a great word, very scientific sounding, very versatile, and so you can see where our beloved Jaggi Bai made his mistake. He used it too many times in too many different contexts that people realized that he was just bullshitting and they began calling him out for it.
For those people who don't like the word different dimensions of life, dimension, 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 please stay awake tonight, all of you, dimension people.
It was from my Discord. So a person in my Discord sent me the song. He was like, "Hey, I made this mashup." He's an
Yeah.
amateur musician, or whatever, and he sent me the song over Discord, and I was like, "Man, this is catchy. Can I use this in my next video?" He was like, "Yeah, sure." It was
Oh man, it's
perfect.
so
So,
funny.
yeah.
It was so funny. I was actually I tend to watch videos on YouTube at like 2x, 1.5x speed. And yours was no exception. But when I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. I need to put this at normal speed. What is that song? And I was like,
Mm.
no. This is getting the normal speed treatment. This is too good to go through at 2x. I was really enjoying it, man. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Sadhguru is how we connected, right? And I was coming at Sadhguru from a animal rights perspective because
Mm.
he's a massive hypocrite on the things what he practices versus what he preaches when it comes to animal rights. But
Mhm.
you've come after him from more of a pseudoscientific perspective. Or
Yes,
you're
exactly.
coming at it from a scientific perspective. He's
Correct.
coming at it from a pseudoscientific perspective, right?
Yeah.
What first turned you onto him as like okay, I'm gonna start talking. This is what kind of got your channel up and moving quicker, right? Because I mean, dude, back then, I just saw you just before I let you go. You had 1,000 subs back then. I remember I
I had
saw
less
your
than 1,000. I had 200 or something when I uploaded that video.
right now you're on
So,
40K. Dude,
yeah,
that's incredible. Seriously, well done for that. I know that was just
thank you.
recently as well.
Thank
That's
you.
incredible work, man. But
And I
amazing.
forgot to say this. I have to say this. Congrats on 20K.
Oh,
Just
cheers!
hit
I
that
appreciate it.
milestone.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. But man, your story is that's a serious success story. Yeah, I remember back then, dude. That's amazing stuff. So, what turned you on to him then? Because yeah, what was the moment where you thought I need to do this. I need to go out here and call out this Sadhguru bullshit like I did. Mine was the animal rights. What was yours?
Yeah. So the first time I heard about Sadhguru was sometime in 2016 or 17, I think. So a friend of mine mentioned that they were going to this. He had this huge like retreats in his. He has a center in a city called Coimbatore in South India,
Okay. Yep.
and he they were going to this, and that's when I first heard about them. And this person was pretty rational, so the fact that he was going to a guru told me that okay, there's probably something about him that that appeals to someone who's rational, and
Right.
I decided to check him out. But when I did, the kind of stuff he's saying, he wasn't as big on pseudoscience back then, so I didn't see a lot of stuff back then.
Right.
But when I actually so I had my channel, probably I was pushing out content really slowly back in 2017, 18, all these years. In 19, I took a long break, and when I got around to it again in 2020,
Mm,
I I was appalled at how pseudoscience, pseudoscientific content had taken over YouTube India.
mhm,
Almost everything you see on YouTube, on the YouTube homepage, is something that is either religious or pseudoscientific or something. And Sadhguru was a huge like force in this YouTube scene. And if you see the video that I made on him, yeah, I mean, you can see that I'm not like my delivery and stuff are not the same as they are right now. I was trying to provoke, you could say, because even my tone of the video was a little, only people who agree with me will like the video. People who
mhm,
disagree with me will absolutely hate it. Even though I never explicitly said anything, overly offensive.
mhm,
I it you could see that the tone of the video was a little negative.
mm.
And yeah, so if I were to change anything today, if I were to remake that video today, I
You
would
make it
say the
twice as
content.
offensive, right? You make it more offensive.
I would make it less offensive,
I'm just
because
joking, man.
I've noticed that my recent videos, at least if you see all my last maybe 10, 15 videos, I've tried to make sure my tone is a lot more accommodative of people who disagree with me.
Mhm,
Because when you are offensive, what happens is people will use that one statement you made as some offensive thing you said as a reason to disregard everything else you said in the video. Every other valid point you make in the video will be disregarded because of
mm.
that one sentence you said. I don't want that. I want my entire all my points to be taken seriously, so I decide to throw this offensive thing out the window. And
Mhm.
here I am.
Are you worried? Are you worried that, well, I guess not worried, but have you considered that no matter what you say,
Mhm.
someone's going to get offended by it, no matter how perfectly you put it? Because what I would
Um,
worry about, or for me personally, what I have considered for this kind of thing is the okay, yeah, you can try and please everyone, right? But I feel like the more you try and please everyone, the less, let's say, spicy the
mm,
video is, and potentially the less reach it'll get, the less comments it'll get. Because at the end of the day, obviously you want people to come around, but you also need to get people to feel so emotional that they say something. And
mm.
if you do you ever, I mean, have
Yeah,
you thought about that? Is that something to
yeah,
consider?
I've thought about this a lot, and
Mm,
I used to be exactly on the same page as you
mm,
back when I first used to make content. I thought the kind of content that that actually made it on YouTube was the offensive kind, the trolling sort of videos.
mm,
Uh, and lately, what I've noticed is that when I'm not offensive, when I'm not being offensive, people are responding. Even the people who disagree with me are responding well to the video. And my videos have actually performed better after I became a little more toned down. Now, I'm
mm,
not saying try and please everyone. You have to be true to the message that you like. Hold on to the point that you're trying to convey, but try and say it in a tone that's not attacking people directly. Like
mm,
you, like for example, take my Zakir Naik video. It's very clear if you watch the video that I'm completely against him, but I try not to be offensive with my tone like that.
mhm,
Like I don't provoke directly. That's all I make sure.
mm. Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, there's a little room, I would say. There's a little room between trying to please everyone and trying to
Mhm,
be non-offensive. There's
mhm.
a little room where I've taken hold. So
Right, got you. Because you don't actually hate these people, right? This is the thing. It's not like you the same as me. I don't hate Sadhguru. I don't hate Zakir Naik, even though I've made videos about them too, and I think they talk a lot of shit. Obviously, you do as well, but it's not a hate thing, right? Is it? Not for you either, right?
no, I don't hate him as a person.
Mhm,
And the same goes for every other person that I've criticized on my channel. I don't hate any of them, but that's what criticism is, right?
Mm.
All my criticism, I try to make it as constructive as possible.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't hate them. I disagree with them. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Have you ever had? I mean, as you are, I would say I've not actually seen anyone in India doing what you're doing and having the same success as you are in terms of doing this debunks of
Mhm.
spiritual godmen and things like that. So two-part question: do you think you're on Sadhguru's radar, or at least his team's radar? And second part of that question: do you think they'd ever reach out to actually have you do any kind of discussion with him or with any of his team, or have they even?
So I'm definitely on his radar. I've been contacted by uh, someone who actually works in Isha. So
Okay.
we had this acquaintance a few years before I ever got into any of this. So that's how he. Someone might have probably seen him as a mutual friend when they checked out my Facebook or whatever.
Mm.
So he was the one who contacted me, and he was like, "Man, are you like, do you have any political motivations behind what you're doing?" And I didn't. So I told him, "This is all. This is purely it. This is what I'm trying to do. I have no political motivations, but some of the ideas he says, and because he has a huge following, I think the youth that are the susceptible minds that are watching him are being influenced by these terrible ideas. So I just want to point that out."
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, cool." So
Right. Yeah.
that was the only incident. Sadhguru has never tried to copyright strike or any of those things with my videos.
Mm.
There is one other person though. He's called Sri Ravi Shankar. He's another Sadhguru like character.
Yeah, I know him. I know him.
Uh, his team has copyright struck me.
Okay.
uh, my
Right.
video went down, and oh man, there's a whole story here. Uh, so uh, i uh, I appealed to YouTube. I counter striked their strike, and I had a whole legal team and everything. I had legal advice back then, and the video came out of the strike. So the
Mm.
14 days of the strike went by, and I got the video back. But they had done, before the strike, they had done a copyright claim on the video that was still active. And if I were to appeal that, that would go on, that would get a copy, that would give them an opportunity to strike me again. I didn't want that. So I was like, okay, I'll re-upload this, removing all their content. And instead of their video, I put just text of what he said.
They're never going to take you on in any kind of formal sense, are they? Let's be honest. That this I think with these kind of I'm surprised Sadhguru never came after you with a copyright strike. His team came after me and also a friend of mine with copyright strikes as well. So I think they could easily set something up with you, right? With myself, no, because I'm a foreigner. Yeah, it's not within their kind. They don't care about the West, And Sadhguru constantly actually shits on the West as part of his whole shtick, right? That's his thing, isn't it? The West Western science is all wrong. It's all about whatever this energy of something is correct, right? So I get why he wouldn't talk to me, but he's got no excuse not to talk to someone like you, right? If he truly believes in himself and what he's preaching, he could convince you. So why not do it then?
One reason would be that I'm actually pretty small, like 40K. I have 40K audience.
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's, I mean, compared to what he's got, why would a guy who's like a
Mm.
more than 100 times bigger than me, why would he care about one tiny little person who's like, he even has like talks where he was asked what he thinks about critics, and he
Mm.
said something like, let the dogs do their barking,"
That
something like
was
that.
yeah. There was the other
So
thing he said.
yeah,
He was talking about trolls. He was saying, "What was it?
yeah.
You throw shit at us." I didn't say shit, obviously, whatever, and we'll use it for fertilizer or something like that. So basically, it's he doesn't engage critics, right? But he does go to colleges and stuff, and he talks to people who are let's say, not even influential in any way. So he does take
Mm,
time out to talk to people who
mm.
would criticize him in that sense. Because I've seen these college students criticize and ask tough questions. But yeah, it's not just him though. I'm talking about also on a wider scale these godmen and these people who kind of like him. There are many of them, and you've criticized many of them. But I guess none of them have ever directly responded to your criticisms, right? They would never take that on board. No, of course not.
And I don't expect them to either. Because again, see, it's not only the Godman. I've criticized people, other YouTubers also, like really big YouTubers who promote pseudoscience a lot on their channel, and they haven't responded either.
Mm,
So, like, see, when you respond to someone, you're giving them attention, right? So, it's like helping them grow.
right.
And anyone who doesn't want that, anyone who wants to suppress me, would never give me attention.
Right. And obviously because they couldn't argue with what you're saying 99%
Yeah,
of the time because you're founded in reality and they're not.
evidence. Yeah,
Right,
evidence is
exactly.
my word. In fact, you can play a drinking game if you watch my videos. Every time I say evidence, take a shot. Yeah,
So what even, right, so you're born in a country that, let's be honest, I'm speaking as an outsider here. I lived there for about 12 months total, so I do have some idea, but I'm still largely an outsider, so take this with a pinch of salt, okay? But my experience there was that it's India is still very largely influenced by religion, tradition, cultures, and especially Hindu culture, Hindu tradition, Hindu religion. That's how I think, if I was to theorize, I'd say that's how these god men gain power. They play on
yeah.
people's spiritual kind of. The people lean
Cultural
to
bias.
absolutely. They lean on that bias and use it to become millionaires, basically.
Okay.
So and there are people like you. Obviously, I met many people like you as well who were like, no, 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 I'm all about the science, and I met people who are in the middle too. How does someone like you come about in a country where
Hmm.
you everywhere you look you're encouraged to not do that? How do you become you?
So I was born into a very conservative family, fairly conservative. Like, not, I wouldn't say ultra conservative, but definitely on the conservative end of the spectrum. And my parents are, they go to temples all the time. And when they ask me, they still ask me. My dad just asked me yesterday, "Hey, I'm going to this temple. It's a whole journey to the particular temple he's going to." And he asked me, "Hey, do you want to come?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm an atheist." So my influence for this atheism mainly came since I was in college and stuff. I was heavily influenced by Richard Dawkins
Mhm.
and the four horsemen of the apocalypse. You know them. So I used to watch a lot of that on YouTube. So that's where I got my influence, and I used to watch a lot of content. And even before them, I used to be really into science, and I used to be a bit of a rational person even when I was a kid. Even though
Mhm.
I believed in God and everything,
Mm,
back then so for example, there's in Hindu mythology. Oh, I'm from a Hindu family, by the way,
sure.
just to set context. So in Hindu mythology, there's this god Brahma who created the universe apparently. So there was this classmate of mine who, when I was in school, who said, uh, there was something happened at the topic of conversation came to like how Brahma created the story and the universe and everything.
Mm.
And I was like, "Hey, that's just a story, right?" And
Uh-oh.
this person's like, "You're going to hell, like you're gonna get, like, the gods will never forgive you." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Oh,
So I,
man.
even back then, I was rational enough to
Mm,
you know to be able to distinguish what's story, what's fiction, and what's fact. Even though I couldn't, I mean, even though I believed in God a bit, but yeah, I guess all this rationality and love for science were
mm,
just, really uh, got stronger, got
mhm,
amplified. because of all this influence that I got in college.
Right.
And I was rational, probably. I was a full blown atheist probably 8 years ago, maybe. But it's only now that I began making content.
I was just thinking about how much I identify with what you said and how much that really relates. Because I can tell you the exact moment that
Mm,
I stopped believing in God. I know, and I remember it very clearly. Maybe 2 weeks before this point, I'd asked the teacher, "Can I? Where are the kind of books about Christianity and the Bible and stories? Oh, they're over here in the library." Okay, I started reading it myself, and it already cast some doubts. Just reading what apparently had happened started making me think, "This sounds a bit like really." And I was open to being convinced of it. So in my next one of my classes, we have religious education classes, or
mhm,
RE, because my school was a Christian school. So I asked in front of the whole class. I asked some questions to this guy, and one of them was it was something along the lines of, if how can you prove that this happened, right? Because I've been reading it and I was confused. It seemed crazy. So I was like, can you prove this? And he said, no, I can't. We can't really prove that. No, it's just faith. And I'd asked again, like, okay, well, can you at least prove to me that God exists? And if you can't prove what happened in the Bible, that's fine, but is there a way to prove that God actually exists? And I remember seeing the color of this guy's face changing from normal to red, in not in embarrassment, in anger, that I was
mhm.
questioning, in his eyes, questioning his faith. And he snapped back at me, just basically saying, don't question this. You don't question someone's faith. That's really rude. It's inappropriate. And just slammed me down. And that right there was the exact moment I stopped believing in God. That was
Yeah,
it. That was
yeah.
it. And imagine if he'd have calmly given me some wishy-washy kind of story or something like that. I would have been a hardcore Christian now, maybe. But
Mhm.
he fucked that up. And but this is representative of, like you said, your friend with your story. You're going to hell. This is what they do. The second you question their beliefs with any kind of reasonable question, or a logical question, they fall to pieces and threaten with hell, or
Yeah,
whatever. It's and I was I was a kid, man. I'm talking like, I don't know, maybe 10 or something like that, and
yeah,
someone's shouting me down in class because I questioned his faith.
yeah.
Mental, isn't it? Absolutely
Mm.
crazy.
Yeah,
I see a lot of this with yeah, go ahead.
this is extra true in India because
Mm,
there's this respect dynamic between parents and their children.
mm,
So whenever I asked anything questioning in a questioning tone to my dad or anything, like throughout my childhood, I would get like why are you talking back, that sort of response. So I never
okay.
really questioned my parents, I guess. But
Mm,
yeah. Like I realized, like yeah, all this influence and everything, I
mm,
it's pretty easy to connect the dots when all this when you're faced with all this, when you ask
mm.
questions. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. You get a lot of hate, right? I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of hate. Has it ever escalated to anything beyond YouTube, like in
Uh,
real life?
Thankfully, no.
Okay, that's
Um,
good.
and that too only on the Sadhguru video. I've gotten hate, so I got used to internet hate
Yeah,
after that video. So
yeah,
I learned, okay, just ignore the comments. Like, no, you're not. You don't have a fake accent. You're not as ugly as they say in the comments. Like I learned to be a little more secure about
sure.
all these things. So
What's this fake
internet
accent?
comments don't
What's
don't
this? What's
affect.
this fake accent thing? What's this?
So yeah, I try to speak more clearly in that video. So you'll notice if you compare my recent videos to that Sadhguru video, you'll
Mhm.
notice a small difference in the way I speak. And
Okay.
I guess many people, at least in India, interpret that as me trying to put on an accent while speaking in English.
They look at your videos, don't they? These haters, right? And I feel like they watch it at like 200% zoom in to see if there's anything, anything on your
Any
face.
flaw.
And it's even worse as a vegan, man. I mean, try
Yeah.
the thing is for you, right? Being an atheist has nothing to do with your physical form. It's not like you know it's going to affect your health or whatever. But being a vegan, that man, we get this stuff as well, right? This you're sounding weird or whatever, or you. But they also go after your appearance and they say, oh, look at you, you're clearly dying. Look, they zoom in on your face. They say, look, there's a yellow bit here. That means that you've got jaundice. Your organs are failing. I'm not joking, dude. I've had this. I'm not even joking. I've literally had that. What
Okay.
else have I had? Eyes. They say your eyes are sinking into your skull. This is also what veganism does. It makes them go in further and further. And they'll pull up a video or a photo of you from like 3 years ago, and they'll say, "Look how much younger you looked then." It's like, yes, it was 3 years ago. Of course, he looked younger 3 years. Oh, it's crazy, man. So
I
yeah, I
like
feel
that
you.
one video you did where you were talking about how veganism affected your fitness, and you were
Right.
doing like push-ups throughout the whole video, and like that was good. Like you're like the way you come up with a video idea, I think that's you're doing a really good job.
The
You
same goes for you, bro.
Yeah.
I think actually one of my videos I did a little section after watching one of your videos. One of
Oh,
your videos you did a talking to yourself segment where you had an argument with yourself, right? And
oh yeah.
I was like, I like that because I talk to myself, but I'd never done this kind of like argument thing. And I did it in a video. I did a video about Sadhguru, and right at the beginning, I had myself interrupt myself and say, "Oh, you're not doing Sadhguru again." And this was from an influence of you because I think you did something very similar. And I was like,
Yeah.
"That's really cool. I'm gonna fucking do that." So it's cool, man. This is what YouTube should be about. We're all just watch. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna do that in my video. Oh, that's cool. I think
Mhm.
it's nice to get influence like that, right?
Yeah, it
Keeps you
is.
on your
It is
toes.
like I think the fact that YouTube has been around for what 10, 15 years now,
Mm,
we have a lot of like content that we can watch and get inspired by.
mm,
So it's not only the people that are active currently; it's people who've been active like 10 years ago. So I've drawn a
mhm.
lot of my influence from, you know, do you know there was this channel called Nigahiga? He's
Okay.
not active now on YouTube, I think. But yeah, he used to do these skits where he played different characters and he would
Okay.
talk to himself in the video. And videos like those are where I draw my inspiration.
Yeah,
So
I also draw inspiration from a lot of comedians as well. I like, do you know Ryan George, the guy who does the Screen Rant? He does the pitch meetings for movies. Have you not seen this guy before?
I might have seen him. I don't know his
Uh,
name,
okay,
but
okay.
I think I've seen him. Yeah.
So he's great. He does a lot of this talking to himself. That's pretty much his whole thing, actually. He just does skits talking to himself. Took a lot of inspiration.
Okay.
If you've not seen him, you would. I'm sure you would like that. He's a
Mm.
really good comedian. Yeah, I've definitely took a lot of inspiration from him. So like I was saying earlier, and I want to get further into this with you. I think we've just kind of glossed over Sadhguru a little bit, but I think I do want to get into this more deeply because I feel like this is what people want to hear. I think if there's anyone that we both have spoken about, it's Zakir Naik. Man, he's kind of out of the picture now. He's not really doing anything. I want to talk a bit more about Sadhguru. I want to really get to the bottom of this once and for all. We can do this for maybe the rest of the podcast even. So I've come after him, and well, I say gone after him. I was actually quite critical in a mean way when the videos I've made, because I find him to be a complete hypocrite with the way he speaks about love and peace and all these things.
Mhm.
Yet when it comes to animals, he all of that goes out of the window, and he'll defend animal abuse. Uh, I talked about that with the dairy industry, that he defends the dairy industry. He thinks the Indian dairy industry is the best thing ever, that they don't do anything wrong. I know that for a fact is not true. I've been on dairy farms in India on a regular basis, filming and watching all the horrible things they do, all the dead cows, dead calves, babies who didn't get enough milk. So it's just the same as everywhere else in the world. It's just dressed up a little bit differently, thanks to Amul. Um, he must know this. I mean, he can't be that stupid to not know that. So he's defending it for political reasons, I would assume. So there's that. There's the Jalakattu, which I don't know if you saw my
Yeah.
video on that. He fully supports it. He fully supports it. He doesn't see anything wrong with it, which is, for those that don't know, it's a horrendous sport where they basically they set a bull for it. They get the bull worked up. They rub chili in their eyes, get them really upset and stressed, and then a group of men have to try and hang on for as long as possible, kind of like a rodeo. If you know a rodeo, it's like that. So he supports that fully, all while preaching spirituality, enlightenment, peace, love, joy, etc., etc. So that's where I draw my biggest issues with. For you, like we touched on earlier, it's the pseudoscience. What is driving this guy to come? So I've explained the things that bother me. Give me, what do you think are the worst things that he's saying and doing, and what do you think drives him to do all of this, and to maintain this strange facade of contradictions like this?
Yeah, and regarding the contradictions, it's not only about the examples you give. He
Mm,
also like he tries to give a very feminist supporting views that
mm.
in a lot of talks he gives, but at the same time he has also spoken about how women should be pleasant to look at. They should dress a certain way to please our eyes. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but yeah,
There was the thing about the blood as well. That when they're on their period, they shouldn't be allowed in temples because it's
yeah.
unclean or something.
I,
I think it was what he said, something like that.
I don't know if he was the one who said that. That is an
Mm,
idea that's present in Hinduism.
okay.
Um, although I've heard arguments that no holy text in Hinduism actually says it, but I know for a fact, growing up in a Hindu family, I've seen what my sister had to go through. So
Mm,
so that's not true at all. But yeah, what drives him? I don't have an answer to that. I think it's um, when people actually grow to a certain level of power and influence, they wanna get even more. Like
mhm.
they'll never be satisfied, right? Like I think it's hunger for more influence that he has. Lately he's been trying to do that in the US. He just went on Joe Rogan like
I
last
saw.
week or 2 days back, I think. And he
Yeah.
was on the Daily Show with Trevor Noah.
Hmm.
And before that, I think a couple of months back, he was on Logan Paul. He
Yeah.
was on. So he goes on a lot of those podcasts. So he's definitely trying to build that influence.
Mm.
And right now he's doing another campaign called Save Soil. If you've seen that,
I have seen
um,
that.
yeah,
Mm.
so he's trying to promote it on all these shows and podcasts and everything. So I don't have an answer to your question, but if I
Mm.
were to guess, I would say he's trying to, get bigger,
Fame
more
and
money,
fortune.
more
Mm.
influence, more power, more money.
I've seen some people are upset that Trevor Noah and Joe Rogan platformed him
Mm,
because they call him a charlatan. And
mm,
they say that his Save Soil movement is also one of his hypocrisies. Now,
mm,
I don't know. Maybe you know better on this. So I've seen people saying that he actually like has stolen a lot of land and turned land into built on it and ruined a lot of
mm.
wildlife for his centers, and they're calling him a hypocrite for going out doing Save Soil while he's doing that. But I've not got into it deeply. Have you? And do you know, is there any truth to any of that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but I know for sure there are allegations
Mm,
that the Coimbatore facility he has, the Isha Yoga facility, is built on thousands of acres on of land that is super, that is ecologically sensitive. It's
mhm,
like right next to an elephant habitat or whatever. And there are allegations that he built it on the elephant corridor, which is caused. He put up electric fences and stuff,
mhm.
and this has caused elephants to encroach upon the tribal land nearby,
Right.
and like go into the crops and ruin the crops and stuff like that. So as far as I know, and I've not looked into this deeply enough, I guess.
Mm,
So, but as far as I know, these are allegations. And you asked one more thing: why is he doing the so the hypocrisy of Save Soil is that again, I haven't looked into it enough to know whether it's actually based in science, whether what
Hmm.
he's doing is actually based in science. But going by his track record, he had another movement just like this called Kaveri Calling, or Rally for Rivers,
Yeah, I saw this.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
where he was, trying to make sure there are trees planted on river banks, to so that the soil remains there or whatever. Again, I don't know all the details, but
Mhm.
the reason I remember the reason that was criticized was because it's not actually the trees. You have to focus on the small plants and the shrubs,
Mm,
to because they do a better job of holding on to the soil. Of course, you'd know this if you actually did any science or research on this, but he doesn't. He just goes by his intuition. Oh, trees must hold the soil down, so yeah, why do we plant a lot of trees? So I mean, a lot of the things he says also come out of intuition.
mm,
They don't come out of evidence or any science or anything. It's all
mhm,
intuition. So,
mm,
like, you can, like, a lot of the pseudoscience that I criticize is conclusions that he has come to purely with intuition, not with evidence. And if you know anything about sciences, intuition is the one thing you should use intuition to build your theories and whatever,
mm.
but you should not use intuition to come to conclusions. You should use
Right.
evidence for that. For example, this is the example I always use for that. If you have two balls, one heavier and one lighter, and you drop them from the same height, what would fall faster?
The
You would
the
assume the
the
heavier ball.
heavier one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's not true, because your intuition tells you it's a heavy one. But if you actually do this in the real world, you would notice they would both fall at the same rate, independent of their weight, how heavy they are. They all things always fall at the same rate. Of course, air resistance becomes a factor for extremely light objects like feathers. But if you take two moderately heavy objects of different weights, they always fall at the same rate. So this is the example I always
Mhm.
use for why you should never come to conclusions based on evidence. Sorry, based on intuition. You should use evidence for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, he does
yeah.
this all the time.
He strikes me as more of a, well, not more of. He strikes me as a politician. I think
Oh yeah.
politicians do the same thing. They
Mhm.
get a half truth. They're told something, and they just repeat it with that. They never actually look into it themselves, or very rarely look into it themselves. They use a lot of intuition, or they use the things they're fed without actually researching it. So I think he acts like that, and I think there was definitely a comparison with Sadhguru and somebody who doesn't do this, and I've criticized Mr. Beast in the past, right? The reason I'm thinking about this right now is because I just realized that Sadhguru does these big campaigns and, save soil or whatever. Mr. Beast also does them. And I criticize Mr. Beast for also being hypocritical with some things. But I actually kind of feel bad now because I gave him the same kind of treatment that I gave Sadhguru, except Mr. Beast is not trying to be a godman. Mr. Beast isn't trying to make people believe he's something special, where Sadhguru does. So I almost am going to go and maybe do a video about Mr. Beast and kind of retract a little bit of the nastiness in there, because I'm just now noticing the clear distinction between the two. Right, one of these people is, after listening to Mr. Beast on Joe Rogan too, I think he genuinely is just some nerd who got lucky, well, not lucky, sorry, got
Not
successful through,
lucky.
not lucky at all,
Yeah,
sorry, got
not lucky
successful,
at all.
got very successful through hard work, and still is a nerd, and he showed that on Joe Rogan. Like, he is just a nerdy kid who's like smashing it, and like, good for him. Sadhguru is not that. He's a politician through and through, and he deserves all the criticism. As about, I don't think Mr. Beast really did, and I just kind of realized that right now. So I appreciate I appreciate that. And sorry, Mr. Beast. Apologies, dude.
Um,
Apologies. So
yeah.
it's fame, power, money, and you think? Do you think? Again, I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you think Sadhguru is tied up in political shit? Do you think he is a political toy? I don't know what the word is. Do you think he's being used by politicians? That's what I'm trying to get across.
he definitely has political influence,
Mm,
because obviously he has a lot of people listening to everything he says. He has a lot of influence, so politicians obviously see him as a vote bank.
mm,
So like you can easily find so the Isha Yoga Center
mhm.
in Coimbatore, that was inaugurated by PM Modi, if I'm
Yeah,
not wrong.
right.
Was it him? Yeah, I think it was him. You'll definitely be able to look up all the political, all the politicians
Mm,
who try to gain his favor, and so and also he has defended a lot of extremely controversial laws and policies that the current government has tried to enforce.
mm,
So yeah, definitely it's kind of mutual. Like he endorses the politicians and the politicians endorse him. Like the PM has retweeted his tweets.
mm.
Yeah, he is definitely a vote bank for
Right,
politicians.
right. And that's do you think I guess people don't realize that really? I mean,
Yeah.
the average person who follows him probably doesn't realize that he's a political kind of political monster. They think they think the sun shines out of his ass. Probably literally think the sun shines out of his ass with the kind of stuff that he comes out with. Maybe that's some kind of pseudoscience he come out with at one point. Yes, the sun does come from here. Um, so that is an issue that people don't know, isn't it? Right?
Yep. Yeah.
For sure.
True.
And that's
For sure.
part of what you're doing is getting that out there, isn't it? Really, I suppose part
Yeah.
of not just about him, but about all these people who are trying to play the game and elevate
Part
themselves
of
through
what I'm doing,
pseudoscience. Yeah.
so I don't. Part of what I'm doing is
Mhm.
definitely about that, but I don't like to focus on that part. You could say, like, I've made one video trying to, talk about what all these godmen do. They're all the same,
Mhm.
but I'm going into a territory that's further away from the direction I want to go into.
Okay.
So I've decided not to do videos like those again. Although I did have a lot of fun writing that video, so I'm gonna let that be up on my channel. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to focus on that.
Okay. So what was this last video actually? I saw you've changed. I feel like you've
Mm.
changed pace a little bit and moved away from this world, as you just said, and I've seen you going more towards a what could be actually what makes your channel go like actual super viral, like we're talking like millions of views into this world of there's a very
Scams.
big market for it. Well, there's scams, yeah, and
Yeah.
also like kind of it's hard for me to explain actually. Kind of these videos like that they capture you. Like a scam video does capture you. Or when you're explaining something that people might have experienced, like why this happens or how this works, or and for yeah, you're doing scams, and I've seen you do some other sciencey kind of stuff, which there is a huge market for. Even probably even well, no, definitely even a bigger market for than debunking a godmen. And I see you've moved. Is this from research, or is this just that your intuition going here that you're like I feel like going this way?
I wouldn't say I've moved, because I will still talk about any pseudoscience that these godmen talk about. In
Hmm.
fact, I'm already working on a video on the safe soil thing, although I don't have enough material for that video yet.
Okay.
But one reason why you feel like I may have moved on into this area is because of my pace of my frequency of putting out videos. I put
Okay.
up videos so slowly that by the time I finish covering one topic, uh, by the time I put out a few of these videos, it might feel like I've moved on into
Right.
this area, when that's not the case. Like wherever there's anyone talking pseudoscience here and there, I would love to show people the actual thing, the real, yeah, the real
Got it.
deal.
Got it. So
Yeah,
you're still passionate about
for sure.
ripping apart the pseudoscientific nonsense, no matter where it's coming from. And there's a lot to go at, right?
True. That's
How
the thing. I was so surprised that I was the only person in India doing this. At least
right.
the only big channel. I've seen a couple in regional languages and
Mhm.
in English, a few really small ones. But yeah, I'm surprised. Even though there's an audience for it, there is no
Mhm.
one making content in this niche.
Do
So
you think these people genuinely believe the things they're saying? These people that promote the
mm,
pseudoscience, like when Sadhguru talk, I know we're focusing on him because honestly, it's just the most famous representation of pseudoscience that I know of, or that's
yeah.
why I keep referring to him. When he talks about dimensions and he uses the word in like just the most, most stupid places, does he actually believe in what he's saying? Is he convinced himself, or what?
I
What does he
think
know? It's bullshit. You know.
I think he definitely knows some of it is bullshit, but I think part of it he probably has convinced himself that that is the case. But he probably says basal stuff just because his audience is giving him positive feedback. Like when he
Mm,
says them in front of an audience and he sees everyone nodding their heads, of course he'll just beat his own bush. I don't know if that's an expression, but yeah, I think he understands that part of what he's saying. Uh, he's just saying it to get a or because he's getting positive feedback from his
mm.
audience, and part of it I'm sure he believes in. So I think it's a mix of both. Yeah.
Man, it's dangerous, isn't it? And the whole nodding thing you said then,
Yeah.
he actually encourages people to nod. You see that, isn't it? Isn't
Yes or
it?
no?
Isn't it?
Yes or no? Yes or no? Have you heard that? Yes. Yes.
Yeah. It's a great tactic though, man. Fuck if I could do that. Like it's almost like maybe, dude, instead of debunking him, maybe we should be learning from him. He's the master. He's the master at convincing people of shit.
Yeah.
And maybe all you need to do is just make YouTube videos and whatever you want and just input. This is actually, you know what? Wow. Here's something, right? This is some inception shit here. You could make videos debunking Godmen using the tactics that they use to convince people they're not lying. So his things that are is true? Yes, is it true or false? Is it and you do this during your videos, debunking them.
Yeah. As much as I would like to, I think that I mean the way I try to make videos now, I think that would go against what I'm trying to do. I think that would be openly mocking them,
Right.
which again goes into
Wow.
all the things I said
But it
earlier.
works though, doesn't it? And I mean, the
Yeah,
thing is,
it
if
does.
you're
It
okay,
does.
if you're mocking, no. But if you actually are doing it because, hey, that shit works. Like, I mean, you've got millions of people following you, so I'm gonna do the same thing. You know, yeah, but people would see it as mocking. I get it. I get it.
See,
Maybe we could apply it in the vegan world too.
yeah.
Trying to
So
convince people
humans
to go
don't
vegan.
really listen to evidence. Like they're not really logical,
Mm,
rational creatures. They're actually way more emotional than logical.
right.
So when they see that a person is convinced of what they're saying, the conviction is what they look at, not the truth of what they're saying.
Of
So
course.
when
Right.
Sadhguru says something with extreme confidence, like the people don't care whether that's true or not. Like they
Right.
just want to run with it. Yeah.
Well, this is what makes him a politician. I mean, a key example of that would be, look, Joe Biden just did his. I don't know if you saw this. They do this thing, address to the nation or whatever, state of the nation. Stands up and he just gives everybody an update on what the country's going through. And he stood there and with conviction, he said a few things. He said, "We're going to raise the minimum wage to $15," and everyone's like, "Yeah!" And he said it with such conviction, and it's like, "Wow, this is amazing. This is going to be great." He said, "We're going to give people there's a free medical care or whatever, or we're going to make this a thing." Yeah, great. Yeah. Literally, I think 3 days after he's in an interview with someone and she's like, so when are you raising the minimum wage? And he says, oh, actually, I've looked into that and it doesn't look like it's actually going to be possible. It's like, what is this shit? You know, it's, but I think the thing is, anyone who knows politics and knows about his party knew that that wasn't going to happen.
Mm.
Even the people in the room knew it wasn't going to happen, but because he said it with conviction at that moment, everyone suddenly believes it. So you're absolutely right, and this is what makes Sadhguru a politician, and not a. He's not. he's not in it for the good, from the goodness of his heart. Clearly, this is where that comparison with Mr. Beast came earlier. Mr. Beast seems to be in it mostly for the goodness of his heart, because he's not a politician. He doesn't act like a politician. He doesn't try to convince you of things that are bullshit. Whereas, unfortunately, Sadhguru does, and these are the Godmen do, and it's the
Yep.
definition of a Godman, basically, isn't it?
Yep.
Trying to.
Yeah, whenever there's this charismatic figure like Sadhguru, yeah, of course, they would do all this. Their conviction is what you want to. You people don't want to think about things themselves, and
Mm.
they outsource all their thinking to public intellectuals, like intellectuals in quotes like Sadhguru. Um, yeah.
And then allow him to do it all for them. It's actually a wonder, and it's a very good thing, I think. But it's a surprise that he's not in a position of power, like politically in India. Like they've not voted him in to be PM, right? Has that ever happened? Do you know, in history? Has there been somebody like him as the PM, or at least somewhere high up in politics in India?
So I know movie stars in there's a state called Tamil Nadu in
Yeah,
South India,
yeah.
and I know movie stars have become politicians and chief ministers and stuff in the
Mm,
state. I don't know if there's any such examples in the
mm,
national government. Oh, yeah. How could I forget? So there's a state called Uttar Pradesh
yeah.
in North India, and the CM of that state is Yogi Adityanath. Wait, yeah, and he's a quote unquote godman. Like he dresses
Wow.
in orange, and he yeah, like there are examples of exactly what you're asking.
Damn. You know,
Yeah.
I'm speaking of the dressing in orange. I'm about to do a video about this. I'm calling him in the video the White Sadhguru. Is this dude from London who
Okay.
now is like a full on Hindu. I don't know what is it
He has
called?
an Hindu name as well.
Yes, Bhakti Swasi something. I can't remember what it is. He's quite famous though. It appears, and yeah. So I just reminded me with the orange because he's doing the whole lot. Yeah, the
Mm,
White Sadhguru I've gone for. With the name of that one. But you just mentioned about the South Tamil Nadu and about the movie star. My God, dude, what is going on in the south of India with movie stars, man? Like, holy shit! I just did a story in one of my videos. They decapitated a live goat and smeared the blood of
yeah.
this goat all over a movie poster because this guy had released a new movie. Like I am just lost for what drives people in the South to be so obsessed with movie stars to make them politicians and also do things like that. Do you have any info on this to help me understand?
So I don't think it's as widespread as what you're imagining. Like
Okay,
it's not
okay.
a regular occurrence or anything,
Mm.
but I think and it's probably the fans more than the celebrity himself. I think there are sections of people
I
that
don't
believe
think
in
he's asking for
sacrifice.
that. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
imagine he's like, yeah. If you really love my movie, get
yeah.
that goat. No, I mean, yeah, I totally believe it's the fans. I'm just,
Yeah. So yeah, there are sections of society that believe in sacrifices and stuff.
right,
So
right,
yeah,
sure,
it's probably an isolated incident. I've never seen this happening, that commonly. But
right,
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've
yeah,
seen that video. Someone shared it on
right.
Instagram. Yeah,
They fucking love the movies down there, man. Movie
yeah,
stars.
yeah.
It's
They do.
crazy. It's crazy, but it's still. By the way, anyone listening, I've got nothing against any part of India. I love India. I told you, I've been all over the country. I had a lovely time there.
When were you
Saw some
here?
incredible things. I was there. I went in 2018 alone, and then I did a trip just around the main tourist bits. You know, the tourist cities and stuff. The things you'd know, the things you'd expect. And then I went back again, working with an animal rights organization, and it was there for about 12 months. Like in and out kind of for 12 months total. We were just I don't the only part of the country we didn't go to was the northeast. Everywhere else we were visited, literally everywhere. Um, Crazy, amazing, chaotic country.
So
All those
how
things.
do you live here? Did you like you know uh,
Hmm?
couch surf and stuff, or were
No, no,
you?
no. No,
Okay.
Airbnbs. Yeah, we were funded by an organization, so we were able to get Airbnbs and Booking.com, stuff like that. And yeah, it would have been really rough to be sleeping rough like that for a whole
Mm.
for like 12 months solid, especially with the temperatures. Yeah, you need to be like
It's not
AC.
really sleeping rough because I've seen like couch surfing options that are
Mm.
really good. So, I
Okay.
mean, it's
Yeah.
not really the couch or anything. People actually
Oh
house
right.
host and they might have a spare room
Right.
and yeah.
Yeah, sure,
But
sure. I think we
have
were
you
a
been,
couple, that's all. Yeah, as well. It's a
yeah.
little more complicated, but no, amazing country, man. Amazing country. And
Have you been to Kerala?
yes, of course. Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
from Kerala.
Is that where you live now as well? Like, are you still
I,
living
I'm
there?
I live in Bangalore right now, but
Oh,
I'm from
okay.
Kerala.
Okay. Bangalore is amazing as well,
Yeah, yeah,
actually. Yeah, there's a really nice, well, the vegan food scene there is great. I don't know if
yeah.
you've
It's
checked it
good.
out.
It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Check
really
that.
nice, really good people as well. Really good scene there. Really enjoyed it, man. Really enjoyed the country overall. And I've enjoyed talking to you as well. It's been great
Yeah, the same.
getting into this.
I didn't know how this conversation was gonna be going into it, but yeah, I've had a lot of fun, dude. I I think we vibe really well. So
Definitely,
I'm
definitely.
actually looking forward to doing this again because I think we have a lot more to talk about. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, we can set some topics. If we've got a topic we want to get into, we can like set that next time maybe and just dive into it. I kind of wanted to get some Sadhguru stuff going because it is just the spiciest stuff
yeah,
related to him, and it always gets people worked up, and that's always a good thing for YouTube. So there'll be in the title, there'll be a picture of Sadhguru, there'll be me and you, and people are gonna go, "Ah, no." They love it. They love it. I
sounds
think I
good.
think the
Sounds good.
people who love him love to hate us, so this is
Yeah.
why I was thinking let's get into this and let's bring them in. And
Mm.
I think we were pretty reasonable though. I don't think we were
Yeah.
super mean. Yeah, I think
Mm.
we might open some minds, maybe.
Maybe,
Hopefully.
maybe is the key word here.
Well, keep up the great work, man. 40K,
Yeah.
bloody hell! And one of your videos just got like 250,000 views. I saw
Uh,
225. Oh, no, almost
yeah.
250,000. Fuck, man,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, 230K, I think. I haven't checked lately, but yeah, almost a
Man.
quarter of a million. Yeah.
That is incredible, dude. And that's just a sign. It's nothing to do with luck, man. It's a sign of the hard work you're putting in, and the
Okay, thank you.
retrospection that you're doing as well. What you were telling me earlier, that you're realizing what works, and it's good. It's good for me as well, man. I'll take that. I'll keep that in consideration when I make this video about the white Sadhguru. I might
Yeah.
remove some of my offensive jokes now and try and make them a bit more
Yeah.
family
Just
friendly.
I mean, of course, I think a lot of your audience actually love the offensive jokes you make.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I were in your place, I would try and keep the jokes, but make the tone a little more more. What would you say? What's the word?
Palatable, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the word.
yeah,
Yeah. I think the worst I've gone on this one. I made a joke about you know how in America there are these white guys that dress like they're gangsters, like with the African American culture. Kind of, they pretend that they're part of that when actually they've never actually suffered or been to any hood. Basically, this guy is that, but for Indian Hindus, like
uh,
comparing the two. I think that's too spicy. I think we can stay in that area, I think,
yeah.
and just kind
You
of
can do a lot of cultural appropriation jokes.
right, exactly. Yeah. I think we'll stick to that.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cheers for your time.
Yeah.
We'll do this again.
Cheers. Definitely.